Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. I hope you are doing well today, Tuesday, February 27th. Here we are again, second day working with these cards. I hope you enjoyed the beautiful images yesterday. When I watched back, I realized that they do pick up quite nicely. Still don't do it any justice as to what it gives live in action, but they do pick up quite nicely. I was afraid that there would be a bit of a glare, but alas, there is not. I actually wish I had more light so that it would pronounce the colors and the details that much more, because I realized, like, for some reason the light is more pronounced on this side of the table and you could see better, but as it gets a bit more dim on this side, it's a difference in the image. But either way, thank you for being patient with me yesterday as I worked with them. I'm asking for that same grace until I get used to these things, if ever, because I don't think they're ever not going to be slippery. So I'll just have to get better with my shuffling, I suppose. But yeah, I'm excited. They actually have given me a new boost of enthusiasm for the game, as we call it here in Tarot Land. Well, it's really not a game. It's I take it quite seriously, as a matter of fact, but you get what I'm saying. So we'll see what's on the bottom. But I do have a channeled song to share because it was so out of the ordinary for me that I knew it had to be a channeled song. So it was what the heck is it called? Just Gets Better with Time by The Whispers. It's an older song, but I'm fond of it from like my childhood. It must have been more of an 80s type of cut, I'm assuming, because I feel a connection to it through childhood radio listening more than I do in my present life, of course. And it's not even a song that I would ever be like, oh, I want to hear that song. So it's not in my natural repertoire. But when it popped up in my spirit today, I was like, yeah, I want to hear that song. So I did. I didn't even realize it was The Whispers, because to me, it must have been some type of comeback of The Whispers. I should have done more research. I'm sorry. I just listened to the song and moved on. But when I saw it was The Whispers, I was like, aren't The Whispers like an older group, you know, like more doo-wop, shoo-wop type energy? But maybe it was like, you know, just getting better with time, another go around in the business, so to speak. But if you're familiar, it's like, just wanna tell you how I'm feeling inside. You got me walking on cloud number 9. Your love is rare and like the finest of wine. It just gets better with time. It just gets better with time. Love that, love that, love that. I was like, yeah, and it was kind of giving like personal proclamation or, you know, spirit love song to me type vibe. So you take it as it resonates, but it could absolutely be someone else's love letter or love proclamation to you of the physical nature, you know, or somebody thinking about you in that regard or wanting to express that affinity in some way, shape, or form. So take it as it resonates, but it was definitely a pleasant little channeling before the message. All right. So here we are with the 6 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck to start. That's in this upright. It's most upright. Could be gift giving. It could be a balanced give and take, some fair exchange. It's an expression of the have and have nots in the highest vibration, but that being like more or less the cycle of life, where for the most part, at some point in time, we're all in a position where we need a helping hand, or that we can be a helping hand. And more or less how you handle that frequency is how it overturns in that favor one way or another, meaning like in the times when you could be a helping hand, how did you give or did you? And in the times when you needed one, how did you weather that despair or that lack, more or less, to, what's the right word I'm looking for, to overcome the void, if that makes any sense. I know I want a roundabout way to say it. It's basically like give and take. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Doesn't mean that because you have it, you absolutely have to give. It doesn't mean because you don't have it, someone else is obligated to give. But it's just a reminder that at some point in time, we all need each other. And so whichever side of the spectrum or the scales, as you see them here, you may be on at any given time, it's ideal to be mindful that at any particular moment in time, it could flip the other way. Meaning you could have it, you could not have it, you could. And certainly if you've been in a position to have less than what you've needed, certainly, as you can see here, they're almost like begging. Then when you get to a position where you absolutely do have something to share or something to offer, you would want to be mindful of the spirit of generosity with wisdom, of course, so that you can fill that gap in the way that at some point in time it had to have been filled for you, even if it was by spiritual interference or not interference, but like spiritual influence, so to speak. Somebody helped you. You can help somebody if you feel guided to. So we're going to keep it up. We're going to see where it goes, but that's the Six of Pentacles. Sometimes I call it fake justice, but it just depends on the vibration that we continue in. We'll see if it shifts on one end of the spectrum or not, to the point that I was making, where somebody is actually taking more than what they're willing to offer, but presenting themselves to be a helping hand, actually causing imbalance more than they are creating harmony. But in its raw, natural, organic essence, it really is about balanced, equal give and take. Okay? So here we go. Let's see what we got. Ooh, okay. Queen of Swords. All right, Queen of Swords. That's one thing about it. I'm gonna try to keep the deck in order. One thing about it, when you shuffle aggressively like this, which I typically don't, you know I'm more of a mild shuffler, but I have to get any cards out, shuffle that way. You're gonna get a card. You better hope it don't fly across the room. Exactly. And I'm going to be more prone to reversals because of how I'm shuffling as well. So get into it. All right, so we have the Queen of Swords. I'm getting like the Queen of Swords sent someone out on a mission with an offer. That's what I'm getting here. She sent someone out on a mission with an offer with this Knight of Pentacles. But there was some delay along the way, or it took a while. And then eventually with the Page of Cups in reverse, what is that? This is an offer, this is a message, but it's in reverse. So we got a very tangible offer, an emotional response, or either somebody didn't receive it, or somebody didn't respond to it. What's on? I gotta get more. What's on the other side? This Page of Cups in reverse at that, because that is what. Well, if it's like a message of, I feel like it's a message of concern. That's what I just heard in the reverse, because it's usually more of an endearing message in the upright. Like, could be a love offer, or could be something emotionally driven. Yeah, so this could be a message of concern that was sent out, like an official message. Could be condolences. Sometimes I say that when I'm speaking of this card in the adverse, even when it's upright. But there was some delay, so maybe someone passed away, or there's some bad news that was supposed to be, like, say, like a telegram or an email or even a text message, but it's information though, with the Queen of Swords, that was supposed to get to a place. And not only was it slow, it doesn't seem like it was favorable. So let's see here. To a King of Wands, or about a King of Wands, or to a King of Wands. What's the nature of this message here? Well, what's the connection with the message and the King of Wands? There was no message at this point. Maybe that's the thing. That maybe there was information that just literally didn't make it. It's not even, it could have been poor news as well. But it literally, who knows? It was like maybe lost in translation. All right, let's go back. What was the message from the, what was the message? Okay, maybe we need to ask that. All right, now y'all saw how easy those cards flipped from me initially. I ain't doing nothing different. There's some ambiguity about this information. Maybe that is the issue. Now, we started at the 6th, message about a gift or about something that was due to someone, because he is carrying a pentacle. So maybe there was something that was supposed to get to, maybe it was something tangible that was supposed to, that's why the emotional aspect is upside down, because it was actually quite tangible. Maybe money, maybe some offering, I have to say gift, especially leading with the 6 of Pentacles. Some financial offer or gift that was supposed to get to the King of Wands that never made it. What happened to it? Was it stolen? Or was it sent and called back? Remember I said 6 of Pentacles sometimes gives me fake justice. It could have been intercepted in some unlawful way. And that's why it's kind of lost in the shuffle, because it's lost in litigation. Maybe a decision on some type of money, like an inheritance or a settlement balance, six of Pentacles, that somebody has taken liberty to intercept. Well, by God, can we get something? Like, okay. Like, we got to get a message there. All right, so we got, so we got this Ace of Wands, okay. Yep. And then we got the Three of Pentacles. So there was some, this is a collusion here, obviously. And I often see it as a financial institution or a courthouse or some type of like government type of establishment or building or something like that. So a very strong and powerful decision was made, decreed, solidified. But here's some energy here that worked to intercept that judgment somehow. And that's what delayed it from, first of all, being delivered with the Knight of Pentacles. But then something got overturned altogether. Let's see. That was almost the Eight of Swords. Man, I turned away a little bit better. Oh, that was almost the, oh, I thought it was a Justice. That was the Three of Swords. Some heartbreaking, something heartbreaking, which gives way to the being unfavorable news again. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, thank you. All right. Oh, there lies the heartbreak. Is some people, this collusion has been dismantled. That's the unfavorable news for them, because whatever interception or interference that was run between this information, this deliverance of a gift, a judgment, a settlement, whatever it was, it got into the wrong hands. Yeah. Somebody abused their power and authority to make sure that it wouldn't get to who it was supposed to get to, but that it would stay within some collusion of this inner circle here for them to benefit off of in whatever way they deemed justified, which we know could have never been justified if it didn't rightfully belong to them, which is why we have the Five of Pentacles here. And this is notice the resistance to the message given the nature of the cards. That remember I said somebody would position themselves, perhaps this Queen of Swords energy could even have been a lawyer or someone that had a high stake in a decision, make a decision to make, like had a high authority in this decision, which is why I feel like it was more in the upright where it was sent out, it was made, but then somebody literally got in the way, somebody's got in the way. Or remember I did say with fake justice that somebody position themselves to look like they're doing fair business, but in actuality they may be in a position to disseminate funds, or like even like a public official, let's say, that has a great deal of access to state funding or federal funding or whatever, and instead of making sure that it gets to whomever really needs it and would do well with it for their own vitality and not even just vitality, but to live well, somebody was intercepting, maybe even pocketing the money for themselves, which we know is definitely, my God, there's stories like that every day about some new official being indicted for misappropriation of funds or fraud or what do you call it? What's the word? Fraud or laundering or something of that matter. Hell, it could even be old girl who I haven't talked about in a while. Maybe we'll see a decision on that this week. I haven't seen any new updates about Fonnie Willis, what's going on with that, which is strange to me because it was, such a hot topic, and now all of a sudden it's like, what's the deal? But sometimes legal things are slow, right? But it seems like these days things are kind of being more sped up to some conclusion or some judgment. So I am quite interested about what may be taking place perhaps behind the scenes, or what is a cog in the continuance one way or another as to why, if that is true, because maybe I just missed something. But I would think that I would catch the headlines because that was kind of on my timeline radar, that they've either reached some judgment or there is a new hearing or something. But it seems like it's kind of still in limbo from where I last saw it. There's nothing new that has been established. So maybe we'll see some forward movement with that. Let's see. Oh. Well, we did get the King of Cups, Mr. Loverman, and the Ace of Swords. Interesting. Because that's who I was feeling. I think that energy kind of came up in that reading that I did where I said that the hearing hijacked the message, kind of. He was coming up as a lover man, right? So maybe there's some truth to that, but there's going to be more. Oh shoot! Now hold up. I don't know. They might be both put out, because when I didn't really know too much about it during the time of that message, but now I understand things a little bit differently, that they were both under scrutiny because he was supposed to be the lead prosecutor on the Trump case. So look, this couple here is out 5 of Pentacles. So maybe there's something that's going to be revealed back to the behind the scenes about these gifts or misappropriation of funds that is going to make it, that's going to finalize the judgment in some way, shape, or form. Something, I would say probably something more revealing about him than her per se, even though it kind of seems like the target really was on her back to me, and he was just kind of catching the strays. But maybe there's going to be something more damning about him, and of course she's getting swept up into the thick of it. Not to say either one is guilty or innocent of anything, because who really knows what's going on with all this? It's always more to it than what we're privy to know as the public. But some truth is going to be revealed about something that's been pending this week. Some revelation, some clarity, or a final decision altogether. And now we got the Wands, the Ace of Wands, which is power, passion, how it was used underground, disenfranchisement on account of that, this positioning of compassion. It's like maybe it's going to be really revealed, like, was that really, because let me leave that alone. Something's going to be revealed. We'll see what it is. I'll update you if I see it. Oh, I'll take that. Two of Cups, some partnership. A power couple. But there was a third party, though, or someone else that was either privy to the partnership here or the collusion, so to speak. Whatever it is, it feels very obscure. Like I'm not really like it's hard for it to come through clearly. Yeah, but this is like, this could be the beginning of the end for some karmic cycle. Some karmic contracts. So probably there may have been multiple. I said back in that message, and I really don't want this to be like a hijacking part 2, because this could be so much more general than that, but I can't not see what I'm seeing, unfortunately. I said in that message that I felt like that hearing was going to open a can of worms. Like that was just the tip of the iceberg for what really was kind of going on behind the scenes or behind the veil or whatever. And here we have the Wheel of Fortune, which we know is the, what we call it, like the equalizer. Well, I would say Temperance is kind of more like equalizer energy, but universally so, it's the equalizer, because it's more or less moving in the evolution of where we started from the beginning. Cause and effect, you get what you give type of energy. Back to that top of that card at the top of the spread, when I said, it would be wise to be mindful of how your vulnerability at a certain point and how you use your power or your not willingness, but your, something is really trying to catch my tongue and it's weird. How you use your resources and your willingness to share when you have it to share. So it could be the energy of having a great deal of access to funds and access to power and access to privilege. That's what it's given, like a great access of privilege. And instead of being truly justified and balanced and equal, really shifting the scales of poverty for people because you have the power to do so. You have that access. It could very well come out that it was more to it than what meets the eye. And of course, there's already the implication that they were patting their own pockets with the trips and this and that, and exchanges between the two of them. But like I said, it's something even more karmic than that here, and falling up under the Three of Pentacles, which means that maybe somebody else might get swept up into this mess. And then the Five of Pentacles, where the two of them are out in the cold, which means they could be kicked off of the case, the both of them, and could face some more endangerment to their livelihoods. Them or whomever this is, like somebody that was in a high position of power and authority is now having a fall from grace. That's what it comes down to. With the Wheel of Fortune here, it's like balancing the scale really and truly to more or less meet your fate. For these contracts, these deals, these commitments that were made, it's like, now, okay, you're going to have to pay up on account of that. The universe don't accept no IOUs. You got to pay like you weigh. And if you were causing imbalance and poverty or endangerment to society overall, then it may be karmically justified that those scales are turned around and you now have to experience what you were creating. Yang, yang, yang. I'm rooting for Fondy. I mean, kinda. I'm gonna be honest. But when I had just because I don't want to see another black woman or man get dragged through the mud, to be honest. That's just my rightful bias as a black woman. However, I do believe in justice, and I believe in what's fair no matter what the color, creed, community, whatever the hell. Position of power don't matter. People that have a certain responsibility should be held even more accountable. Well, just as accountable at least. But certainly when you're in a position to help or hurt others and you choose the latter, you really may feel it in that regard when it all comes down. But when I have posted that message, I had only seen the testimony. I hadn't seen Fondy's testimony. I had only seen up to Nathan Wade's testimony, and then the first, I think they ended that day with the friend who was one of his colleagues, but they were having a hard time really getting much out of him because it was like fighting tooth and nail about attorney-client privilege. So I hadn't seen Fondy's testimony until much later that day, after I had already recorded the message. And I gotta say, I was a little bit thrown off. I was thrown off because I know I can understand the passion and the frustration behind her expressions and her responses. But I also, as I said, she's an officer of the court, a former judge, and also the district attorney. I expected a little bit more decorum from her, proper decorum from her, and I'm not even legally versed or haven't even been in many courtrooms, to be honest. They make me itch to even go up in them places, when I have had to. But the lack of decorum was a little bit disappointing, and I felt like there was definitely a polarizing moment from perception where some people were like, yeah, you tell them, sister, and other people were like, ugh, what is this? Being combative with the attorneys and speaking out of turn and answering things that weren't asked. And it's like, you know better. You do this. You know better than to be acting like this. There's a way to get your point across clearly and sternly as the Queen of Swords, really and truly, like very objective and direct without so much emotion. And it was so much emotion that it made you almost feel, me personally, being the objective observer that I can be, that's what kind of really sealed the deal. Like, there's something more afoot here, because I understand you're upset because you're being lied on, and sometimes as a Black woman, we do have emotions that are hard to really justify to conventional society that doesn't relate, because we do get picked on a lot. We are downtrodden quite often. But in a space such as that, I just would have expected her to be a little bit more grounded, and to really drive the point home without being combative. Like, it was given very much so angry Black woman. And I don't subscribe to that term, pushing against it or championing for it. But it was like, is this really the proclamation that you want to give to the world of who you are in your position of power? Because me as a Black woman, it didn't look good to me. So, I don't know. But I don't even know why I said all that. But I guess to the point of the Wheel of Fortune aspect, it's like, I also said in that message that sometimes what, there's what goes around, and then there's what comes around. And sometimes what comes around isn't exactly identical to what you sent around. Sometimes the universe comes and gets you, reclaims its time, so to speak, in a way that you just didn't anticipate, but one thing for sure is that you're going to pay. You're going to pay like you weigh. So, as I said, I don't know if it's going to be a revelation of more than what was known, or the fact that it's kind of quiet anyway. It's kind of a strange quiet, an eerie silence, if you ask me, about it. Because I know the Trump team is chomping at the bit to air her and him out to dry, for that matter. So it's like, what's going on? What's happening back there? I don't know. Strange things in our system, in our society overall right now. All right, let's see what's after the Wheel of Fortune. Ooh, that was a flipper dipper. Okay. All right. Energies don't like that. Come on, give me a card or two or three. I ain't even gonna be picky right now. Whoa, what's that? Did a somersault. Eight of Cups. Somebody having to walk away. Oh crap. From what they've been, this could be all the energy invested in this case, or whatever, like I said, it could be very generally speaking that somebody invested a lot of time in positioning themselves a certain way, and now they're faced with having to walk away. Now, this is really a choice departure with the Eight of Cups, usually, but I don't know why I'm feeling me personally, I'm feeling the energy that someone That's the best case scenario. Like of course there's always a choice to not, but it's like, ooh, it's like I'm gonna say this and we'll see what happens. It's like behind the scenes, just rock with me. There's almost like a deal happening where, because of what's been uncovered or what more there is to say on the matter, maybe perhaps she's being faced to resign or recuse herself, whatever the case may be, from this case. You know how sometimes they let CEOs or even judges or attorneys or whatever, like, remove themselves, or officials particularly, like state officials will resign rather than be fired or impeached or put out of office or whatever. That's what is given to me. It's like whatever it is so whatever it is so damning that it's more or less like, all right, this is the evidence that we have, or these are the options based on what has been revealed. We can continue on with this hearing and yada, 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 and let it play out for the world to see. It's already a spectacle. Or you can resign, and then maybe she may be able to save face, or at least that's the offering, is that she can save face and save her position, him or her, maybe save his practice, save their license, whatever, if they're willing to resign or recuse themselves from the case. It saves them the embarrassment and also saves their livelihood, because their livelihood is at stake right now, or somebody's livelihood is at stake. There's a deal. There's a deal. But the deal, like I said, it's like the best case scenario or the lesser of two evils, because it's not what would be wanted or most ideal by whomever is being offered this invitation. It's like kind of having no better option. If you wise, I don't know, because she kind of wild, as we saw on that stand. Maybe she would want to fight the good fight or whatever, tooth and nail. And then that would also be karmic if, in fact, they do have something that's more damning and could be even more detrimental to her position overall. It's kind of like in court, or when you're in some type of legal bind and they give you an offer, and the offer really isn't all that great. The deal usually isn't that good. Trust me, I know a little about this, not me personally, but people close to me. But the deal itself isn't all that good. However, if you go to trial, it's going to be much, much worse. You're going, and if you lose, there's always that off-put chance that you may just win. But particularly when they know they kind of got you by the balls, they can give you whatever they want to give you, and it's like you better be happy you got that much. Otherwise, if you lose this thing, you could go from a 1 year or 2 year sentence to 10. That drastic of a jump for some offenses. In this case, it could be, we stop here, you recuse yourself, you keep your job, you keep your position, maybe some restrictions or some, she'll probably be under scrutiny if this is the case, but this could be some case for someone or something. It doesn't even have to be so legally stringent. This is just how it's coming up for me. That somebody has a crossroads moment, maybe some people have a crossroads moment to consider, where they could sacrifice a small part of themselves to save face, or they could risk it all and perhaps run the risk of losing it all, or they could risk a win and run the risk of losing it all. That's the energy here. With jackpot vibes, definitely, there's a gamble on the board. There's a gamble, for sure. That's what that is. And it's like you walk away from the table while you can, or keep on pulling them slots or pulling them cards. I did say game, didn't I? This game. I did. I never say anything for no reason, ladies and gentlemen. Just so you know, if you haven't figured it out by now. Let's get one more and I'm out of here. Oh, thank you, Spirit. I appreciate that. Where is it at? Ooh. Oh, I got two more. Ooh. Wow. Hella aces on the board. Yeah, it's definitely a game, but it ain't a game. That's the thing. Like somebody been gambling and they're at that point where it's like double or nothing type of energy or cash out. I don't know. You know, last time I told you I don't really be knowing all the gambling terms too well, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's like somebody can cash out with their chip, put, you know, here it is, like cash their chips in for what they got, you know, why they up, if they up, or as up as they can possibly be, even though it looks kind of down, you know, from this 8 of Cups down to next to the 4 of Swords. It's like somebody's reputation. Is it reputation? Credibility, that's what it is. Somebody's credibility could take a great hit here with the 4 of Swords. And it's like they wouldn't be able to really get around it. You know, it's like no finesse out of the truth. That's what it's given. And so here's the opportunity, here's the offer. But it feels like, you know why it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because it's like if they decide, especially with, you know, a Spitfire such as old girl, if they decide to surrender, so to speak, it still kind of looks guilty, you know? That's why I'm saying, like, the silence is kind of deafening right now, because if you don't let it play out and you just, after all of that fighting and obstinance and all of that, it kind of looks like, well, maybe there was something that, you know, was, you know, funny. If you would be willing to say, all right, I'm just going to recuse myself and blah, 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 blah. That's almost like immediate someone's guilty or something's off. But, so there's that. But then if you continue on, it's like I said, there's the possibility that you could get the big win. But in the revelation of truth, how likely is it? Is it likely that you're going to get that big win if they pull all the cards that they may want to pull or that they actually have to pull? So I'm going back to this because here was the message that didn't get through. Maybe this is just the delayed funds that weren't going through the proper mediums and the proper channels. They were being filtered down to here with this 3 of Pentacles. Yeah. And the poor message was for those that were disenfranchised not to be able to receive these intercepted funds. Or it could be one person that was supposed to, I don't know. I don't know with this one. I'm sure I do though. Like, I'm sure what I'm saying resonates in some clear way, but how it initially started and how it panned out is kind of like 2 different energies, I feel. I'm trying to see if I'm missing something that I should speak on. But as I said, like, it's been kind of like pulling teeth on this one. That's the hush-hush of it all. And now if it turn around, like I said, if they turn around and the judgment is what I said, or they continue on and it's just a shit show, then we'll know why Cat got my tongue. But otherwise, I'm just like, What's the secret? What's the resistance here? Because the Wheel of Fortune is all up in the mix. That means fate will not be defeated, no matter what. So it's like even the worst case scenario, that's why it's such a like back up against the wall type of energy, because when it comes to calling, you don't get to choose per se how you answer. You know, it's like, this is the offer, kind of take it or leave it. And that's what's, it's like somebody's power isn't going to get them out of it. You know, somebody's intellect isn't going to get them out of it, not even their connections, because when it gets to a point like this, people are hands off. They don't even want to deal with you because you hot. Literally, Ace of Wands. And then when the truth starts being revealed, everybody runs for cover, because if there is collusion, and like I said, there is a can of worms here, then everybody will be out in the cold on account of what gets revealed. You know? So yeah, so this could just be generally some figureheads, some what do you call it, like public figures that are just really being brought to justice, having to answer for the oaths that they took, in spirit and in truth, perhaps. Yeah, look at this, 7 of Cups. Yeah, some people just got carried away in their own, I hear delusion, but it's just like, what is that term? Something of grandeur, you know, like just overinflated power, you know, egos, having more power at your fingertips than you obviously can truly responsibly account for. You know, it becomes almost overwhelming, and you see all these options, like I could do this, I could do that, and nobody will ever know. It's like, somebody gonna know. One day that that fog is going to clear, and not only will you see the true nature of your choices and what they have yielded, but other people will see, or you'll just have to answer for them. I was just looking at this card today because I was just kind of looking at the card, looking at how pretty the details are. And I was just saying, like, the really only viable choice here is this reef, which to me reads to choose peace. It's like somebody woke up and chose violence most days, if not every day. You know, chose corruption, chose unfairness, imbalance, you know, like all those other things in here, prosperity, well over abundantly. So, you know, probably more than their fair share. Sandcastle, an unfortified foundation, a dragon and a snake. Need I say more? Intoxication here with the mushroom card. Maybe intoxicated by their own power, maybe intoxicated. I mean, even the good district attorney said, I don't like wine, I like Grey Goose. When she said that, I was like, what the hell? Like, you could just say, you shouldn't have said nothing, but at least, like, I'm more of a vodka girl myself, or a vodka woman or something. Like, not I like Grey Goose. What are we doing here right now? That is crazy. And then the head to me is like, it could be choosing self, but I don't think so. I feel like it's more like sacrificing others, or drinking of others' energy even, I would say. You know, again, infringing upon frequencies that you don't have jurisdiction over, or that are not forwarding, at least, and fortifying. So the only thing here that is vital is peace. And what could bring more of it? What could assure that foundation? affirm that reality for you. Everything else, even if it was satisfying in the moment or at the time, or it seemed like nobody knew or nobody cared or everybody's doing it even, because I'm sure there's a lot of that, especially in our justice and legal system. Now everybody cares. It's a thing. It's a problem. And it's a problem for you, and it's a problem for whomever was involved in it. It's like, the only thing viable is peace. Somebody, everything else is a burden. Look at that. Somebody's learning that a lot of people, not even somebody, a lot of people are learning that the hard way, that their choices were, their process of choosing was distorted. And in the end, this is where it has led. It's led to an ending of stress, of burden, and of pressure. That's what the outcome has been for those that chose anything else but peace in this cup. It all leads one way to this energy at some point in time. Even if I'm totally wrong about Fani and somehow they skip, they escape this madness, whatever it may be, the blemish on her character, even as I'm speaking of her, and I don't even know the lady, and I have no stake in the matters of Georgia State whatsoever, not whatsoever, but just you being pronounced and presented to the world in such a way, even to me, a reflection of you as a Black woman, I can't even vouch for it, not holistically. Like I wanna cover you and I wanna support you, but some things I can't even fuck with, So it's like, even if all of this just kind of gets swept under the rug, somehow, some way, which seems virtually impossible for that to be the case, the blemish on your persona, on your person, all that you've worked so hard to accomplish, rightfully so, like legitimately so. Not many make it to the position of power and authority that she's made it to, for it to look like, I don't know, it looked bad. It looked bad. It looked bad. It just did. It still does. And even Black women across the land that feel probably similar to me, where we want to root for you, Fani girl. We want to root for you. But you definitely made it hard when you took that witness stand. You should have listened to your counsel. They was trying to keep her off the stand, and she bust up in the courtroom like she owned the place. It's like, girl, child, I hope you on the up and up with this type of behavior, for real. But like I said, with karma, it's like how you get exposed to some degree. She may be completely innocent in this regard, but it could be connected to something else. And now this is the light that it shines on her character as a result, So that's just how the cookie crumbles, man. It just really is. That's why it really makes sense to stay in integrity, And when you choose in peace all the time, for the most part, there might be some times when you gotta roll up your sleeves, or at least you feel like you should. Maybe not actually, but you feel like you should. For the most part, you can never lose when you choose peace, even when you feel like the world is against you. She woke up and chose violence that morning. She couldn't wait to get on that stand and challenge that woman. But, in the end, it wasn't really a blemish on Attorney Merchant or whomever, district, I don't know what her title is, but she was definitely a prosecutor at that time. The polarity was on her perspective, her persona, her, the perception of her as a leader, an officer of the law, and that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So, I don't know. We'll see how this one pans out, but take it as it resonates. Leave what doesn't. I think it's still a message of, a cautionary tale of how we present ourselves to the world, when no one's watching. How about that? Let alone when the world is watching. And for some of us, being a Black woman, you're under a watchful eye even when you don't think you are. Just in your community, in your family, and you're at your job. Like, we're the tastemakers. We just are. Even our men look to us and then act like they looking the other way when we catch them looking. Some of them, But for the most part, we are the tastemakers of creation in so many ways, so many more ways than one. If I had time to even get into it, it just is what it is. But to whom much is given, much is required, and you can't hold such a great impact and impression on creation and not uphold the accountability and responsibility for your force. And surely that's not limited to being a Black woman. So anybody listening still holds a level of accountability and responsibility for their creativity. But I'm just speaking very specifically of what came up today, and from the perspective of being a Black woman and knowing exactly how frustrating it can be when it does feel like the world is against you. I get it, girl. I get it. Which is even more reason why you got to make sure that they don't have anything to stand on or stand behind when they come in to attack. There will be no point of connection for the opposition to latch onto or sink their teeth into or project into, because if she truly was doing everything upright, maybe perhaps not have even hired that man at all because of the conflict of interest. Maybe perhaps not have allowed him to use his card. Like certain things that there could have been more proactivity on that would have kept her clear of any objections or scrutiny whatsoever. But there probably wasn't much thought about that because of the position of power that she was in, and feeling like more or less she had the liberty and the invincibility to do what she wanted to do. And we do, but we also have to deal with that karmic will on account of our choices. And that's everybody, man, woman, and child. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see how this plays out, if at all. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.